Hello, everyone, and welcome to week 4 of our 4-part series of the Web ROI Tip of the Week series on search engine optimization. Last week, we reiterated the importance of your Google My Business page and ranking well in your local market. If you missed it, you can follow this link and have a listen. This week, we're talking about moving targets and identifying keywords that will deliver results, especially amidst the changing climate during the COVID-19 pandemic. So we're going to jump right in. We've got Charlie Ford here with us once again, our in-house SEO specialist. Welcome, Charlie. Charlie, you said that because of COVID, there's been a huge fluctuation in SERP, search engine results page volatility. So can you please explain what you mean by that?
Yep. So SERP, SERP is basically just the results page that you see when you enter anything into Google. So it varies based, of course, on what the search is. But following kind of mid-March or so, when COVID really hit US and Canada, there was huge fluctuations in SERP volatility. So basically what Google was showing on those results pages was fluctuating pretty much every day. That could be a result of a huge change in search patterns. It could be a change in what Google prioritized as far as ranking content. In this case, it was probably both those things.
So how can SEOs anticipate this kind of thing and use these up and coming trends to generate more traffic, leads, or sales through their website?
It's hard to anticipate things like this, of course, when it comes to search. I don't think anyone really saw this coming. One kind of interesting thing or way that you can do this is when COVID hit, we used Google Trends, and we could kind of see, okay, these keywords were really were being searched quite a bit more than they were previously. And one example of that was how to cut hair. So around March, April, you saw a huge increase in searches for how to cut hair compared to the past. Now, there's not a whole lot that you can do with that from a sales standpoint. I mean, you could write a blog on how to cut hair, and that would presumably get more traffic than it would have a couple of years ago. But using Google Trends, we could see that kind of aligned with the search for how to cut hair. There was a breakout topic. There was a big increase in searches as well for something like hair clippers. So that kind of shows you how an increase in searches for something that's more informational can lead to an increase in searches for something that's kind of more actionable or commercial.
So you said before that keywords that you target on your site are not always the ones that will generate the most traffic. Maybe you can elaborate a bit on that.
Yeah, so in most cases, when content is written, there's kind of one target keyword phrase, and then there's maybe 2 or 3 kind of related keyword phrases that you also want to sprinkle into the content for both users and Google to say, okay, this is what the topic of the page is. And kind of within that, there's usually dozens of variations when you think about like plurals and kind of the different ways and that people describe things and everything like that. So sometimes the keyword that you kind of base as the main keyword for your page, that's not always the one that ends up drawing the most traffic for that page when it comes to search.
Because Google understands, again, like we talked about last week, it understands the context behind the search. And sometimes if you don't enter an S, for example, it's not going to look for necessarily that exact word match in the search query.
Exactly. They've done a lot better at understanding context and synonyms and everything like that.
So what are some tools that marketers can use to decide how to navigate these SEO or navigate SEO under these conditions?
There are programs like Moz and SEMrush where you can kind of take a look at SERP volatility, and you can kind of even look at it on a site-by-site basis, so you can see, okay, these rankings have been fluctuating quite a bit over the past couple weeks. And then another thing that you can do as it relates to keyword trends, there's a lot of programs for this. Like I said, Google Trends is probably the most popular one, but also Pinterest Trends is very popular, and you can get some interesting ideas there. There's also a site called Boing Boing, which has some interesting stuff as it relates to that. And another one is explodingtopics.com, which basically shows topics that have seen huge increases in searches.
So as opposed to using Moz or some of those software as a service paid search tools. Those later ones you talked about are all free tools that people can use then, correct?
Exactly, yes.
Okay. Do you have any other recommendations, Charlie, as we wrap up? Again, I thank you for your time over the past 4 weeks. I know you put a lot of dedication into learning about this topic and sharing your knowledge, but I'm just wondering in general, are there any other recommendations that you have that you would want to summarize as we wrap up this series?
Yeah, I guess as it relates to keywords, especially in this case, like we talked about, the keyword that you optimize for isn't always going to be the one that draws the most traffic. So that's something you just need to keep an eye on and maybe adjust your content accordingly. When you do see increases in potential opportunities from Google Trends or exploding topics or those other things I mentioned, you need to be in position to kind of attack those and go right away. Because they're not going to be up and coming trends and topics for long. By the time they've been out for a month or two, they're already kind of oversaturated with content. So if you're a content creator, if you're a marketer, you need to be in position to identify those and attack right away.
Excellent. Well, it's been an awesome few weeks that we've had to go through this information with you and have you share with us, Charlie. And to our audience, I just want to thank you all for tuning in. Hopefully you've gotten some value from this. Now we're heading into September. So now we would want to say this is often a time of transition. It's a season where businesses are ready to kind of kick things back in gear. We're heading in towards the fall. Hopefully the kids are going to be back in school. We don't know yet with all this COVID that's going on. But this is a new season, and this is a great opportunity for you to really start paying attention to your online marketing and search engine optimization. And we'd love to have the opportunity to have a conversation with you and see if we can help with that. There's lots of resources out there, but we'd love to have that opportunity if you would like to have that conversation with us. You can book a time right in my calendar where we can spend 15 or 30 minutes having a conversation, understanding your situation and seeing if we can help you. If not, that's fine. And if so, then we can come up with some specific plans and recommendations on what we would do to help you out. So until next week, once again, thank you. Enjoy the last few remaining days of the summer holidays. And we look forward to seeing you for our next weekly tip of the week. Have a great week, everybody.